Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. That's right. It's the Quarantine Concert Series, baby. Welcome back to the wonderful new edition of the Quarantine Concert Series. I'm your host, Kabir Segal, and big show, right? Show number 70. Yeah. 70th episode. There's fireworks. 70 shows in 53 days consecutively. So we've been at it, binge hosting shows. Couldn't do it without our wonderful friends, Sandra and Camilo. They are behind the scenes, making sure this happens. They're fearless, they're intrepid, and we're going to be starting our march to 100. That's the goal. I hope we can get to 100 shows and see if we can pull it off. We're going to go with alacrity. Although that's not the word of the day, but we will have alacrity in our pursuit of 100. So congratulations, everyone. Thanks for your support as we have been putting the shows together. What are we doing? Of course, by now, concerts, gigs have been canceled. Could be a multi-billion-dollar impact to the live concert space. It's really tough out there for musicians. Everyone attached to musicians, producers, bookers, managers, promoters, just the whole ecosystem. So we got to be there and support people. We started this broadcast to put the spotlight back on the artists, put the spotlight back on the people who keep us motivated, inspired, and encouraged, and just enlivened throughout the year. These are the musicians that share their mind, body, spirit with us. So we thought, you know what? Let's try to create an opportunity where there's some gigs for musicians and feature their music. And so I hope this is a way that you can meet some established and some emerging artists, and hopefully you'll start listening to them and becoming patrons of them. Because I wrote an article recently about patrons, and for Market Watch, it's called "Become a Patron of the Arts to Help the U.S. Economy Get Back in Tune." There's been a long history between patrons and artists, and we have to make sure that relationship remains strong and vibrant. If you want to support an artist, you can. Listen to the music, buy the merchandise, buy the t-shirts, buy the mouse pad, buy the coffee mug, buy the hat, buy the toothpick, buy the fanny pack, buy the backpack, buy the left sock, buy the right sock, buy the merchandise. You know what to do. You can also host a show like this. You can also when you have a birthday party, throw a private Zoom. Hire a musician. You know what to do. So all kinds of ways to support musicians. A lot of arts organizations are raising money for the pandemic. Musicians, like music carers, all kinds of things. Let's support artists. All right, next up, I want to thank the folks at All About Jazz. And they're a very, very great organization. Started 25 years ago, 25th anniversary. Happy anniversary, Michael Ritchie. If you're an artist, go make an artist page. If you're a patron, go make a patron page. All About Jazz, great website featuring jazz journalism. All right, next up, we started a quarantine film series, conversations with filmmakers, which is awesome. These are filmmakers who've had their movies accepted into top festivals like the South by Southwest and the Tribeca Film Festival, and they have been, all the festivals are gone. And so I just finished making my first movie. I was really excited to hit the film festival circuit, but without the festivals, hard to find the sales agent, hard to find the distributors and buyers. It's tough out there to sell a movie because, I know everyone wants content, but, hard to get a lot of people to return your phone calls from the distributor. So Alice Gu, for example, she won the South by Southwest Jury Award this year. There was no South by Southwest, but they still had a jury meet, and she won it. And she made a great movie called The Donut King. So we do these conversations in the morning, like 10:30 in the morning. And I encourage you to listen to get a scoop on what will be the next movies coming to your streaming platforms. All right, we have a word of the day. We always like to pick a word of the day. The artist today, his name begins with an M-A, so we thought we would pick a word. The word of the day is called mace, the large ornamented tapered rod or baton used by a drum major to signal musical and marching directions in a marching band or military band. So mace, that is the word of the day. There will be a pop quiz at the end of the show. If you get the word of the day, you will get a prize. What's the prize? A dog presenting you a dog presenting you a trophy. That's the word of the day. And Joel, to answer your question, yes, there is music tonight. This is the spiel we do up top so everyone knows what's going down. So thanks for your patience. Will there be food tonight, Joel? I hope you're cooking dinner for your family at home. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. There is also YouTube and Periscope. We're everywhere. So tune in. If you're on LinkedIn, especially looking for a job, we're going to keep you motivated and inspired, keep you encouraged and moving forward. All right. That's where you can find us. Basically, everywhere you want to be on the show, let me know. Facebook or Instagram, a bit of a line waiting list to get on the show. You can also contact Sandra and Camilo and send them cash payments through ACH, PayPal, Traveler's Check, American Express, Venmo, or Zelle. And if you really want to get in the show, hit them up. Send them some music to mix. That's the shortcut there. All right. I think that's it, right? I think I said everything. Public sphere. Joel, are you ready to do this? You ready to hear some great music? I see you commenting there. We're going to listen to great music now. And this is Saturday Night Live, you know? It's time for Saturday Night Live with a great guest live from New Jersey. An accomplished pianist, organist, vocalist, composer. He made a great album a couple years ago, which I've been listening to all today. Can't wait to talk to him about it. And this is like two shows in one because this man has already been on the show once, playing with Sarah Partridge. He was the man in the mask. So not only is it Saturday Night Live, we have the Masked Singer as well. Two shows in one. Can you believe it? Please welcome to the show the incredible Matt King.
Hey, Kabir.
Hey, nice to see you.
Hello, folks.
Hey. Tell me where you're broadcasting from today.
Beautiful, balmy West Orange, New Jersey.
All right. Well, nice. I'm glad you're there, and it's not too. Oh, there's Sarah. Sarah's checking in. She's saying hi. How you doing?
Sarah.
So, how has quarantine life affected you? What was on the radar? What was on the calendar that you since had to cancel?
I just have to say about the balmy comment, that was completely facetious.
Oh, okay.
Freezing here today. I don't know where you are. I hope it's someplace warm. I actually did another streaming concert today, Kabir, at a friend's house on the other side of town on his lawn. We set up with social distancing, and we streamed live for a charity called Feeding America. But I swear to God, what is it, March 9th today? It was snowing. It started snowing when we started playing, and it was like 40 degrees outside.
Yeah. Well,
So it was like freaky. I was like snowing in May.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm actually I'm in Atlanta, and it was like 72 and perfect today, and you're in New Jersey, and everyone watching at home, please let us know where you're watching from. Tell us your city and state and country, because we want to know all the places that Matt is broadcasting into. And speaking about good music,
Yeah.
the great Ted Nash, saxophonist from Lincoln Center, he comes over once a week and we jam for our neighbors. So just right outside, we had a nice neighborhood concert. It's been a nice thing to do. So I encourage you to keep. It's cool that you're able to play at least, and you're playing for other people.
It was nice to get out of the house. I'll say that.
Yeah, I hear you. So what is the normal day like for you in quarantine life? How do you structure your days?
I'm kind of a vampire, so it's more like how I structure my nights. I'm staying up very late, waking up at the crack of noon because I don't really have any place to be. I don't have any rehearsals to go to, and don't have any students coming over. I'm actually, to be honest, Kabir, I spent a good chunk of when things first started to get crazy at the end of March, I spent a good chunk of time figuring out how not to pay bills and making arrangements for that. Then a good amount of time going online and looking for grants and musician funds and things that could help keep me and my family moving along here. Aside from that, I have to say I've gotten a lot of practicing in, and I've gotten to listen to more music. Usually I'm listening to music to learn songs for a gig or a concert or something coming up. I'm prepping, right? Don't listen a lot for enjoyment, maybe unless I'm in the car. Now I'm not in the car because I'm not driving anywhere. So a lot more recreational listening, stuff I've been meaning to hear for a long time, listening to friends, other friends' live streams, and as I said, practicing, working on some arranging, some composing, doing some tracks for musician friends, like computer tracks, especially for singers, stuff they can sing along with at home.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit of a cottage industry like that, but I'm definitely missing the being out and actually playing, which is today, aside from the show I did with you and Sarah a month ago. Today is the first time I played with other musicians in a month.
Nice. Well, it's auspicious time. By the way, when you speak, you need to kind of crouch down a little bit. I think we get half your face.
Oh yeah. Well, hopefully you get the good half.
See? There we go. So I guess when you now see everyone see how handsome you are now. Awesome. So what would you like to begin your set? And everyone watching at home, we have kind of an interesting arrangement. He's kind of in the frame on Instagram. That's why we have this setup. We have to make sure he's on the Instagram shot and in this shot. Otherwise, we will hear it from the Instagram crowd. So tell me, what would you like to begin your set with?
So because we had such crappy weather today, and I'm waiting for a nice spring day, I'm going to do a song related to that called Blue Skies. It's an American songbook classic by one of our great songwriters, Irving Berlin. Same guy that brought us White Christmas and Easter Parade and God Bless America and about 9,000 other songs. But I just figured that'd be a good choice for today. All right, I'm going to take these off. I'll be back. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds, they're singing their song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, I never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by, when you're in love, my, how they fly those blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. Saw the sun shining so bright, I never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by, when you're in love, my, how they fly those blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. There's nothing but blue skies from now on.
Yeah, man. Amazing. Sounds awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
How's the balance?
Balance is great.
Mike,
Seems like you're not falling off your seat at all. Seems like you're very well balanced. Okay. Balanced over here. Yeah, sounds good. We got a lot of love. The applause is coming in. Make sure to lean forward when we talk. So
how's this?
There we go. There's the man. You're leaning forward. I love it. So you're leaning in. Awesome. Hey, tell me, man.
Balance thing again.
Exactly. You have such an interesting background from your time at the Thelonious Monk competition, and you've kind of taken this turn into Latin music as well. With your Brazilian project, I do want to talk about it. Let's talk about your Monk in Brazil project. Why did you want to do a Monk in Brazil album. Why was that like a unique take for you?
Um, I've actually always kind of been into Latin music. I got into the Brazilian thing, I think, uh, when some, well, actually, my mom always used to play Girl from Ipanema around the house. Not the original version, unfortunately, some like cheesy, like watered down music version that she liked to cook to. But I love that song from the get go. I have a very early memory of that song. And of course, that's, a major standard in the Brazilian world. Um, And I got into Latin music actually. I found out more about Brazilian music later, kind of via Chick Corea and some jazz guys, like his album Light as a Feather. And I was like, oh, what is that rhythm? Oh, it's a samba. That's a bossa nova. Oh, that's cool, then I started becoming more aware of it. And it's funny. I grew up in Illinois. It's not true. I never grew up, but I was raised in Illinois. And I moved to New Jersey my sophomore year of college, and this became my adopted home. I love my Garden State now, and it was funny here for the first time up at William Patterson, my alma mater. I heard salsa. I'd never heard that. They don't have that in Central Illinois. I was like, "What is that?" So and these guys, these local bands like in Patterson and Newark and stuff here in Jersey, they needed players that could read the arrangements, not just guys that played by ear, because in that world it's a lot of ear playing, a lot of word of mouth, and so I actually learned the style. I got a little coaching from some friends that were already hip to salsa, and I was playing salsa gigs within a few months of moving here, having never heard the music in my life. It's a very strange way to start. I thought I'd start doing jazz gigs because that's what I did, right? But it ended up playing salsa. Then later I found out more about Brazilian. Uh, Monk was on the jazz side. Monk was one of my first. Um, my son is adjusting the camera angle. Thank you. So Monk was one of the first major jazz figures I got super influenced by. I really didn't find out what jazz was till I was about 16. I was improvising before then, but not like in a jazz context. I didn't really know. I wasn't making the connection between jazz as a style and improvisation as the basis of that style. But I did get it by age 16 and started playing jazz and started listening to a lot of people. Chick Corea, who I already knew about, Herbie Hancock, Oscar Peterson, other great pianists. And then I found Monk, and I was like, "Who is this guy? He plays so different." And the tunes, the compositions were just like, "Wow, no one writes like that." It's so distinctive, and it kind of goes hand in hand with his playing. Once you hear more Monk, you hear how his playing and the writing kind of complement each other. So I got way into his tunes and just started learning like dozens of Monk tunes, like through college and high school. And simultaneously, as I said, I was also learning more about Brazilian music. Now I was in more of a melting pot here, being on the East Coast, than I was where I grew up. So influenced with a lot of other types of Latin music, including Brazilian. And I realized that I love Brazilian music. And a few years ago, I was sitting down with a Monk tune, and I was like, maybe if I try it as a samba, or I don't remember what particular groove or even what particular tune, but I tried it, and something clicked, and I was like, wow, I bet you could take a lot of Monk tunes and put Brazilian rhythms to it. And then I just started pulling out tunes and like, trying it, plugging this tune into that groove or plugging this groove into that tune. And I was like, well, someone must have done this. I was like, maybe I'll make an album, but someone must have done this. Nobody had, to my knowledge, nobody had. Danilo Perez, who I'm sure you know, great
Yeah.
pianist, he did an album, it's probably been 15 or 20 years now, called Panamunk. And Danilo's originally from Panama.
Hmm.
But that's all clave based. It's more like salsa based, not really Brazilian. So, as I said, as far as I know, I think I did the first Monk Brazilian record. And hey, it only took me like 50 years to have an original idea. So,
No, it sounds great. It's a beautiful record. When I heard it, when I heard your version around midnight, it was really cool to hear that Brazilian pattern down there, because that's not a vibe that I normally listen to or hear
sure.
when I listen to around midnight. So it was very unusual and a very stirring to have that new flavor on Monk. That's what makes his music so amazing. It's so iconic, but then people can take it and just, you were talking about reharmonizing earlier in the sound check. I can't wait to hear some of your reharmonizations of his pieces and some other pieces that you've worked on. So we're looking at the song list here. Is there anyone that really stands out to you that was either the most challenging to lay down or the most difficult for you to play and produce?
On Monk in Brazil,
Yeah.
Um, well, you mentioned around midnight. That's at the other end of the spectrum. That was actually probably the easiest, and I didn't really do too much of that. It's traditionally done as a ballad, as you know. So to go from a ballad to bossa nova, which is what the groove du jour for that one, isn't that much of a stretch. But some of the other ones, it was challenging. For instance, there's a tune called Jockeying, which Monk apparently, I think, wrote for a niece of his named Jackie. And I love this song, but the original song is so straight. It's almost like a march. It's like, and I played that for a Brazilian friend of mine, my bass player who plays on most of the record. And he was like, man, I don't hear any samba in that. And I said, all right, well, I'll come up with something for it. So I kept exploring grooves. I had recordings I was listening to online. I had actually a book of Brazilian rhythms I was using as a guide by late great pianist Serginho Teixeira, who just left us unfortunately a couple months ago. And that one I ended up putting in a group called Afoxé. It has another name that I can't pronounce, and I can barely pronounce Afoxé. But it's a tribal dance kind of rhythm, originally from Africa, like most of the stuff we listen to on this side of the world. It was a bit of a square peg round hole thing, which I found with certain tunes. As I said, I have a song that I love, like Jockeying. I was like, well, how can I Brazilify it? Or maybe I had a groove I loved, like a frevo, right, which is a parade rhythm in Brazil. What song can I put with a frevo? So I had to work kind of from both sides, the song and the groove, or the groove to the song. So Jockeying in particular was a little challenging, but by shifting the rhythm of the melody a bit, it made it swing harder in the Brazilian groove than it did as a jazz tune. And I did that with a couple of the tunes, just shifting the melody, the melodic rhythm, just a little bit, made it work in a Brazilian context. So that was one challenging one that I could think of off the top of my head.
Very nice. If you have a question for Matt, drop a comment. We'll try to get it up on the screen. Matt, what would you like to play next?
Let's go. I'm a huge fan of New Orleans music too. So I will definitely get to the Monk song a little later, but I'd like to do this song by, I believe it was originally by Solomon Burke. I know the Professor Longhair version of it, and it's been covered by a lot of other people too, but Professor Longhair, Dr. John, rest in peace, James Booker, Harry Connick, all these guys I've checked out a lot, and I love that style of piano playing. I just love the vibe in New Orleans. And this song is, you might be able to think of it kind of as a quarantine song, so it has some mention of being loneliness and by yourself in here. It's called Cry to Me. Cry to Me. When your baby leaves you all alone, and nobody calls you on the telephone, don't you feel like crying? Don't you feel like crying? Here I am, honey, come on and cry to me. When you're all alone in your lonely, lonely room, and there's nothing but the smell of his perfume, don't you feel like crying? Don't you feel like crying? Here I am, honey, come on and cry to me. Well, baby, nothing could be sadder than a glass of wine all alone. Loneliness is such a waste of time. Oh, darling, you don't ever have to walk alone, can't you see? Come on, take my hand, come on and walk with me. glass of wine all alone. Loneliness, loneliness is such a waste of time. Oh baby, you don't ever have to walk alone, can't you see? Come on, pretty baby, come on and walk with me. When you're waiting for a voice to come in the night, and there isn't anyone, don't you feel like crying? Don't you feel like crying? Here I am, honey, come on and cry to me. Here I am, honey, come on and cry to me.
Yeah, awesome. So good. So good.
Thank you.
Really good. Thank you
Fun
for
song.
yeah, thanks for sharing that. I feel like I was down in on Frenchman Street down there.
Yeah, me, I just want to be someplace warm, you know?
Not in balmy
Wearing a
New
sweater
Jersey.
and a hat. I'm wearing a sweater and a hat in my house. It's freezing here.
I love it. I love it. What is the what are some of your favorite New Orleans based musicians? You know, we just lost a few weeks ago, the great Alice Marsalis, which is really kind of sad and tragic. Who do you, in your mind, who do you associate with New Orleans?
Well, the gentleman I mentioned before, Professor Longhair, who covered that song. That's how I learned it. I have a friend that calls me Professor No Hair. I don't know why she calls me that. So yeah, the professor, Dr. John, who we also lost not too long ago, Mac Rebenak, James Booker, who's amazing. A lot of people don't know about James Booker. They know the other two. They know Dr. John and they know Professor Long. But James Booker was an amazing, virtuosic kind of New Orleans pianist. I actually thought about doing one of his pieces tonight, but I chickened out. And the more modern generation, Harry Connick, you know, guy's more than just a pretty face. You know, he's a great piano player, very, very steeped in that style. And certainly Ellis Marsalis would have been, you know, well aware and well steeped with the style of playing as well. And then there's the bands. Of course, there's the Neville Brothers. There's the Meters.
Yep.
Who a lot of people, of course, from the Meters came the whole Neville Brothers family dynasty. A lot of people, I've heard stories that James Brown, way back in the day, like early 70s, was going down to New Orleans and listening to the Meters and stealing some of those grooves and putting them into his thing. So there's so much influence down there. I mean, basically all American music that's not classical music has its roots in New Orleans, I think.
I agree with that totally. Daisy wants to know, what have you been listening to during this quarantine? Are there any new artists you have discovered?
New artists. I found a fabulous singer-songwriter young lady online. I'm not sure if she's an instrumentalist as well, and I'm not going to be able to remember her name off the top of my head because I just friended her a couple days ago. Morgan something. She's in the city. Sorry, I can't remember. I've been going back and actually just checking out some stuff I haven't listened to in a while, like some old Weather Report stuff. You know, it's a Seminole fusion band. Their music was a big influence on me too. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play next a tune by Joe Zawinul, the keyboardist and founding member of Weather Report. And I've been checking out more Brazilian stuff. And actually, it's kind of nice because I have two kids, two that I know of. And they're both home from college because they can't be in college, right? Because all the colleges are closed. So they're finishing up their stuff online. And my son especially is a big music fan. Well, my daughter loves music too, but she likes like K-pop and stuff like that. So we won't talk about that. But my son, he likes all the same stuff I like. He likes jazz, and he likes Bob Marley, and he likes Steely Dan and Weather Report and Brazilian stuff. So I've actually been sitting down with him and exploring a lot of music online that I hadn't thought about for years either. Like, I don't know, but Jean-Luc Ponty, remember him? French fiddler, fusion, kind of a classic fusion guy. We've been listening to Thad Jones, Mel Lewis, just a bunch of stuff. I mean, there's just so much stuff out there. So I guess I'd say I'm catching up more with the older artists and not so much new ones.
Got it. Yeah, me too, actually. What would you like to do for your next number?
I think I'll do that Zawinul piece. So this was written actually pre-Weather Report when Zawinul was touring and recording with the great alto saxophonist Cannonball Adderley. It's a song that Joe brought into the group called Mercy, Mercy, Mercy. And the melody's the same, but I changed almost all the chords. So hopefully you folks will still recognize it.
Awesome, 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 man. That was awesome. I didn't know. I
Thanks.
didn't know whether that was going to go back into the melody again right there. I like how you reharmonize it. Walk me through how you reharmonize that.
Excuse me?
Walk me through how you reharmonize that tune.
Boy, that's a good question. I mean, I know why I did it. This is a song that comes up a lot at jam sessions um, because it's a good song. It's a crossover song for people for jazz musicians or for guys that play blues and rock, because well, the real version doesn't have so many chords in it, but and it's a good jam to you solo over two chords, right? You could just stretch out and do things, and it comes up so often and over so many years. I learned this in college. Um, I was sick of it. I mean, it's a great tune, but I'm done with it, right? I've played it 1,000 times, so I was like, one day I was just like, I got to do something different with this song. I have to do something. I'm not going to change the melody. I love the melody, but which I'd actually end up changing the melody in two spots, but for me, reharmonization is. I just started poking around. Like, the first two chords of the song are the same in this case, and the third chord is like I'm hearing something different. What am I hearing in my head? Sometimes it comes to me right away. Sometimes I have to try 4 or 5, 10 different chords, right? Then that change leads to the next change. So it's a domino effect. So once you get it going, for me, the reharm seems to kind of define itself. And sometimes I see target points. It's like, all right, a few bars down the road, I know I want to be at G minor. How am I going to get there? Right?
Yeah.
So you start filling in the cracks.
Can you just show us what that third chord is in the traditional one, and the third chord
Sure.
is that you chose?
What? Right. So the original song stays on 2 chords for the whole first section. These 2 chords. Again. One more time. So what I did was, I did that first iteration, new chord, and I ended up going to a minor chord instead of the major key that the song is in. And for you music geeks out there, I went from the major to the relative minor. That's how I got there, right? We don't want to get too technical and start losing people, but
You'll gain people
actually,
on this broadcast. You're going to gain people. This is a smart crowd. Keep
okay,
going.
All right. Yeah, no, I don't want to dumb it down. Actually, you know what? You reminded me, Kabir, playing it by myself, maybe like on some boring solo gig in a restaurant or something, or some club where no one was listening. This section, the second section, was usually over like a B flat pedal, right? And the chords change
Yep.
on top of it. I started moving the bass line around. I was like, oh, cool. No. It sounds like Donald Fagen, right? So actually, that's where the reharm started, in the middle of the song. And
Interesting.
then years later, when I got even more sick of the song, I was like, I got to reharm the whole thing, and that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, I like what you've done with it, because it's like a new tweak to it. It's like hearing it for the first time.
Hopefully, Joe's not rolling over in his grave, but
I'm sure it's fine. So tell me about some of the people you play with in your band. I just want people to get a flavor of who you tour with, the likes of who you recorded with. Yeah.
So there's my Brazilian group, which will play a piece from the new CD next, which features some of the greatest Brazilian jazz musicians around. There's 2 drummers on the album, Mauricio Zottarelli and Adriano Santos. I'm probably butchering their names, but they will forgive me, hopefully. 2 bassists, Itaguara Brandao and Nilson Mata. Nilson Mata I have also worked with a lot. He runs a 2-week clinic called Samba Meets Jazz, which is for semi-pros and students and hobbyists, weekend warrior kind of musicians, and some pros as well. I've taught at those camps with Nilson often, and actually I have to thank Nilson for getting me a lot more into Brazilian music and to putting me in situations where I was playing with a lot more Brazilians. And those are the 2 bassists. I used an American friend from college days, from William Patterson, a great multi-reed player named Anton Denner. There's also a couple of percussionists on the record, Fernando Sassi from Brazil and Emadine Rivera, who I believe is from Puerto Rico originally. And there's a great Brazilian guitarist named Chico Pinheiro, who appears on a couple of tracks. who I've actually met teaching at the Samba Beach Jazz camps with Nilson Mata. I was very happy to have him on board, and he's a a hot ticket these days in the Brazilian jazz scene.
Yeah, I'm a
Uh,
big fan of Nelson, and
yeah, you know Nilson, right?
yeah, as a bass player,
And
he's a
then
really good bass player. Yeah.
yeah, I've had the fortune to like work with some really great players. Just about a year ago, last spring, I did a nice concert up in Bergen County, New Jersey, with my old professor from William Patterson, who was the head of the jazz department at the time I was there, the great bassist Rufus Reed. We did a trio concert up there, and I've gotten to tour with other people in my band. I had a long-running trio that worked around New Jersey and New York with bassist Doug Weiss
Hmm.
and drummer Pete McDonald. These are both William Patterson alumni as well. And I've also been fortunate to work with the late great guitarist Chuck Loeb. I don't know if you ever followed his music.
Yeah, of course. Sad when he passed
Brilliant.
away a few years ago.
Yes, sadly, lost Chuck too soon. So I got a lot of touring with Chuck and was on a couple albums with him. And I used to tour actually not too long out of school. I did a lot of touring and saw much of the world with Blood, Sweat, and Tears, which is a seminal, rock, jazz, fusion, Latin band, kind of like a la Chicago,
Yeah,
It was an experiment kind of band.
got it. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I was reading through your website. You play with so many great folks, and you've had quite a run. I'm glad that you were actually able to put out the Monk and Brazil project, because everyone who's watching this, please go to Matt's website. Let's put that up on the screen. MattKingMusician.com. MattKingMusician.com. Also check him out on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel, and there it is, MattKingMusician.com. And as of today, he's on Instagram. So let's get his Instagram followers up as well. So welcome
You
to.
forced me to do it.
I know.
I wasn't gonna do it.
Yeah, there we are. There's the Instagram right there. So welcome to Instagram. Welcome
Thank you.
to on behalf of all Generation Z or whatever. So what would you like to do next?
I think I'll do. Let's do the Monk tune.
All right. Last time we had someone play around midnight. I think it was Tal Cohen. He was playing in Australia, and the connection dropped 3 times, so we had to end the broadcast early. So we've been
jeez.
we've been in the middle of around midnight for a few weeks now, trying to finish the song. So hopefully
you
you'll
know
take us
what?
to Brazil and back.
I saw that. It was a keyboard player, right?
Yeah.
I saw that when it stopped. I was like, what happened?
Yeah. We don't book. We like to book everyone, but Australian people in Australia, I think we may discriminate a little bit because the connections are really far away, and it's hard to get people.
Just because of the technical, right, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Again, folks, imagine a trio, a nice bass player, a nice drummer. That's how we recorded this on the album, but I'll see what I can do.
Dude, that was awesome. Awesome.
Some applause buttons in here?
That's many of me clapping. Dude, awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love that. I love the multitasking, as Daisy said. Look at all the love you're getting up on the screen. Jane Rose. Daisy.
A lot of people are gonna ask what this is, so I'll just show them.
Yeah.
It's called a melodica.
The melodica.
It's just a little keyboard you blow into, and they seem thrown off by the tube. You don't need the tube. You can just blow. It has a little hole here. But I use the tube so I can get to it, obviously, at a distance from the piano.
I love it. Hey,
Yeah.
we were asking, by the way, we were asking on the break, we have 2 trophies that we can hand out to the artists. And so we asked them, should we present you the Kitten Trophy or the Penguin Trophy? And we are delighted to present you. You're now the defending champion of the Kitten Trophy. Please present Matt the Kitten Trophy, please. Yes, there's the Kitten Trophy. Yes, yes, yes. We want to present that to you. Would you like to make a speech?
What does it mean?
So for you to interpret. For you to interpret.
I see. I'm allergic to cats, but I'll just keep my distance from it. I was actually kind of gunning for the penguin, but
Well, we can give you that one too. Let's give him the Penguin Trophy too. We'll give you both. We'll give you both of them. Just because you play 2 instruments. There it is, the Penguin Trophy. You got both trophies. Congratulations.
thank you.
Now, would you like to make a speech about penguins? All right.
Sure.
thank all the
yes,
penguins
I just
in the
watched a
world.
show about them last night.
Awesome. So you got
Did you know
both.
that some of them come up the coast of Chile,
Yeah.
climb a cliff, and there's a desert there, and they actually go into the desert to lay eggs and breed. These are penguins in a desert. I saw this on Nature, so it must be true.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, look, you're now one of the very few holders of both. You're the dual holder of the Kitten and Penguin Trophy, the highest honor on the show.
Geez, thanks.
Yeah, of course. That's how much
Now
you
I can
moved us.
retire.
Exactly. And maybe you can play one last. Maybe we have to do a quick,
Yes.
maybe 3 or 4 minute version one.
Yes.
What would you like to end on?
I'm going to end on a positive note and go back to the Great American Songbook. This is by Johnny Mercer and Harold Arlen. And it's called Accentuate the Positive. We need to do that, right? I'll give you a short version. Is that what you want?
Yes, sir.
You got it. You got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, don't mess with Mr. In Between. You got to spread joy up to the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum, have faith or pandemonium's liable to walk upon the scene. To the straight, my last remark, Jonah in the well, Noah in the ark. What did they do just when everything looked so dark? Man, they said you gotta accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, don't mess with Mr. In Between. To illustrate my last remark, Jonah in the whale, Noah in the ark. What did they do just when everything looked so dark? Man, they said you better accent the way the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, don't mess with Mr. In Between. Don't mess with nothing in between. Don't mess with nothing in between.
I think the audience wants to see you bow.
They're gonna lose me.
I want to see your bowing technique. I bow to you, sir. I bow to you, sir.
Can you bow on your knees?
I bow to you, sir. I bow to
I'm
you,
bowing
sir.
on my knees.
I bow to you, sir. I bow to you, sir.
Thank you.
I bow to you, sir. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. So I bow to you.
Okay.
Is it uncomfortable?
Well, you make me embarrassed. All right, keep it up.
Well, we want to make sure in this quarantine that artists get their daily dose of applause, because when an artist doesn't get their applause,
Yeah, it is weird. It's a weird thing not to
we
hear.
want. Well, you're hearing it, and there's hopefully you'll go back and read some of the comments. People are really enjoying your wonderful music. You really are a maestro and virtuoso. I really encourage everyone to go to MattKingMusician.com on Spotify. Check him out, and just subscribe to all of his stuff, because he's one of the most remarkable and multi-talented individuals we've had. There's this previous album, Kaleidoscope. I think there's one more we have, right? If we can show it.
Yeah.
The Maximus
Christmas.
Trio. Welcome Christmas.
It felt like
Something
Christmas today.
Christmas, yeah. Christmas came early to me because we heard you play. Awesome. Cool. So thanks for being on the show. We actually do have a winner in the Word of the Day contest. So we will present the vaunted puppy trophy to, the word of the day was mace. Mace. It's going to go
As in
to...
spring the mace.
Yeah, it's going to go to the incredible Claudia Miranda. Claudia Miranda had the word of the day. Let me find her here. There she is. Yeah, Claudia, that's going to be some applause for you. You're now the holder of the puppy trophy. So if you're keeping score at home, Matt King is the current holder of the penguin and kitten trophy, and Claudia Miranda is the puppy trophy holder. Claudia,
She can have my kitten if she wants it.
There'll be no. Give it. We can probably trade. We can create a second.
regifting? Okay.
No, you can re-gift it. We can create a secondary market. We can try to monetize
the
this
kitty. She can
as
have
much
the
as
kitty.
we can. Exactly. Babs Gorman also got mace, but unfortunately Claudia beat you to it. So, Claudia, let's see if you can defend your crown tomorrow. All right, so that's it for today. Let me tell you about tomorrow. We have a wonderful show. Javier Perez Sandoval will be on the show playing guitar, 3 p.m. Eastern, live from Colombia. And then, 10 p.m. Eastern, we have a special showing my mother. My mother will be here co-hosting the show with me for Mother's Day. My mom and I will be hosting Lauren Henderson, playing the wonderful music, some standards. She's an incredible vocalist, artist, musician. And that's that. I do want to say thank you to Sandra Camilo. Let's put their website up on the screen. Soundworksrecording.com. They're very kind, clean, polite, hygienic, happy. They've been going for 24 hours on a live stream, working in conjunction with the World Economic Forum. They've just crushed it over the last couple of days, and they deserve a well-deserved 4 hours off. Only 4 hours. No, they're really cool people. If you're an artist and want to work with them, hit them up on their website and ask about their dogs, or you're a Maui, you'll get a discount. You can also just go and make a reservation and pet the dogs. It is $5 a pet, payable by PayPal, ACH payment, debit card, or prepaid card. So Sandra Camille in the house. All right, have a great day. Have a disfrute to fin de semana, and have a wonderful Saturday. And I'll see you on Domingo. Good night, everyone.